I guess, number 1, in lieu of the city and the town of Waukesha shall agree to a development agreement, etc. I guess I would suggest substituting the word that the city shall commit in writing to working constructively and cooperatively with the city of Waukesha in an effort to develop a development agreement covering all the territory currently constituted in the town of Waukesha, words to that effect. And I would insert the same words in number 2, that the city of Waukesha shall commit in writing to the town of Waukesha to basically discuss or bargain in good faith regarding a revenue sharing agreement with regard to properties in the town of Waukesha that might end up being transferred to the city. And that's the essence of it. I don't want to clean up the words, but that would be my proposed amendment.
We stopped typing, you have to say it again.
It's tape recorded, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I can get it in there.
Do you want to, so you've got something close to that?
For item, you want the clarity in 1 and 2?
Yes.
So what, can you flavor that? What is that? Hey, we'll sit down and talk, but we'll never agree.
Oh, I didn't say that. Again, it has to be a good faith effort, and hey, do we have a whole lot of cards in our hand to be able to enforce that? Absolutely not. I mean, it's simply asking them to try to commit to do that. And you can say they've violated every agreement they've ever made or what or not. Maybe we need a new negotiating strategy or new negotiating team, and maybe we can make some headway. But I'd simply be asking for them to make a commitment to do that. Do we have a strong hand in this matter? No.
I'm not sure I understand. How does that, what does that look like? So we agree to be in the service area, and then we have an open-ended, no time frame, we'll sit down and talk at some point in the future? Is that? Because I don't think anybody up here is going to agree to that.
Yeah, well, if we want to put some additional constraints or conditions on that, I'm certainly amenable to that. Time issues or whatever, I'm open.
I mean, we worded into the letter that we were committed, or I shouldn't say committed, that, but it does say that, you know, town did have its entirety included is the intention of the town to accept the service supply area. I mean, this letter is a good faith effort to reach to them and open a discussion and I think presented as, hey, you've already agreed, you've already offered us a revenue sharing agreement. We're just talking about the what goes into it. You've said 20 years at current rate. I've said that my desire would be to have its tax mill rate forevermore, and I get it. They're here and I'm over there. Is there a middle ground that could be developed? I think that's why I've asked over and over for a sit-down discussion with the Common Council and the Mayor, and let's put that issue to rest. We're not talking about should there be one, we're talking about what would be in it. As a development agreement, I think that's actually a tougher issue than the shared revenue.
Question for you, and I think you and I are certainly pursuing the same goal. My question to you is, you and Chairman Merrick, back a week ago Monday, I think was the 22nd, met with a whole horde of people, I guess, over at City Hall. I've never really gotten a debriefing on who was involved or anything, and I thought the meeting was at your request. The purpose was to try to see if we could find a way to move forward with this with the town included in its entirety. What was the nature of the discussion at that meeting that you and Chairman Merrick had with the other people who were present, particularly from the city, because this issue doesn't really so much involve the DNR or sewer pack, or not directly, but what discussions did you have with them about? what discussion did you have with them about a development agreement? Well, first of all, who was there from the city, and what discussion did you have with them about a development agreement and a revenue sharing agreement?
Dan Dukniak, Ed Henschel, and Steve Crandall were present in the city. Specifically, at one point, Ed Henschel said, "Joe, what is it that you want for the town?" And I laid out exactly what I viewed, which was to create a development agreement. I said something to the effect of, we shouldn't have as two communities, one looking over their back, wondering when land would leave us. We should be able to proactively develop the land that we have available for development and do it with them. And that certainly is going to include annexation, because they're certainly going to need sewer and water, and we should be able to champion that, not walk away from that, or try to, in some capacity, create a hoarding, if you will, or prevention of annexation. I think we need to get past that and try to collaboratively develop that area, and I specifically referred to the 164 corridor. And I certainly did say that a shared revenue agreement would be something that I would pursue, that would say, hey, we should be able to develop that land and provide its services, which could include fire and EMS, and that would be a way for us to be earning the tax revenue that we'd be getting, including planning and ongoing inspections and all of that fun stuff. And Mr. Henschel appeared to me, and maybe I misread him, but he appeared to me to be quite open to that discussion. And I thought his letter spoke in that tone that he was looking forward to working proactively and trying to negotiate other services that he's plowing and EMP and all that stuff. I mean, that was the tone. I left that meeting. The only thing that has changed, in my opinion, from that meeting to tonight was that I believed that we had a requirement and an option to approve a plan for the town of Waukesha that would be incorporated into the city's plan. The city and the DNR feel that that is different, and I understand that that's how they feel. That's the only thing that changed, and my discussion with Ken Yonker just 2 days ago echoed the fact that he felt that we were being asked to do now was factually different than what we walked away from on that Monday. And that was a phone conversation. I didn't send anything to him. Him and I were talking on the phone, and that was what he echoed to me. So the tone was, I thought, very positive, and I still would like to see that through.
Let me just ask a specific question. Item number 2, regarding the revenue sharing agreement. The letter basically says that the terms of the agreement and everything would basically last as long as the water service supply plan, which, I mean, conceivable is in perpetuity. Did you basically make that representation, that that was the town's expectation to Mr. Henschel and Mr. Dukniak and Mr. Crandall, that what we were seeking with was perpetuity on the revenue sharing? And if you did, how did they respond?
I did when Mr. Henschel asked me, what does the town want, Joe? And I said, I painted I think I even said, if you're asking me, like, what is my Christmas list? Here's my Christmas list. And that's, what I typed up was something to bring to us as a board to discuss. Maybe, as an example, maybe you're okay with a 20-year based on current, tax rates. And that's a perfectly valid position to have. Maybe Mike's good with that. Maybe, this is just where my position was when I typed this up as a talking point. And that's a process of working that through. and they're here and I'm here, and I get it. This was my work product that I brought to us and said, hey, here's something that I put together. We didn't have to send this. We could have picked it down and said, hey, I don't think they're gonna agree to that, let's put it down to 20 years. That I might be agreeable to say that it's a 20-year. The water service supply plan has a life expectancy of 20 years by state statute. Maybe 20 years is the appropriate number to put in there, but I think that's part of the dialogue in putting a shared revenue agreement together, is to say, what does that mean to you? I don't know what it means to you. I don't know what it means to Mike or Larry or John. That's what it meant to me.
I'm gonna move forward with this. I'm not gonna let you misrepresent this any longer. There were 7 people in that room that are gonna disagree with you and another 4 on the phone. Shared revenue was never brought up. The only thing brought up in that meeting, Joe, was the abandonment of the shallow aquifer wells if the city was unsuccessful in their application for Great Lakes water diversion. I'm willing to go back and ask them again. They have told me that they have a negotiating team. The negotiating team has said no. I'll ask again, that's fine. I think we should vote. But your misrepresentation of what was said in that meeting is absolutely incorrect, and there will be several other voices that will confirm that. And I think we should move on.
Great, move on.
You want to read the motion?
Sure. Supervisor Bansky moved to reaffirm the letter of April 29, 2013, and await a response from the City of Waukesha Mayor and Common Council to sit down with them and discuss with the amendments moved in to have the commitment from the City of Waukesha in good faith to embrace the items of consideration. Shall be commit in writing to be working constructively, instead to be working constructively together in an effort to work with the town of Waukesha with the clarity on the items in the town of Waukesha's letter dated April 29, 2013 on items 1 and 2.
Brian, you good with that?
I am.
Joe?
Yep.
Roll call.
Sure. Chairman Merrick,
Yes.
Supervisor Bansky,
Yes.
Supervisor Wolf,
Yes.
Supervisor Laska,
No.
Supervisor Fisher.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Next on the agenda, 3B, release of privileged information to the public. Joe, you wanted that put on? You want to address that?
As my fellow board members have described, the document that Dean Lang sent to us as a town board was distributed to the public via an open records request filed before any of the other board members, speaking for myself, and apparently the 2 members to my left had the document. It's my opinion that that document presents a privileged status, as it is certainly communication between the town's attorney and his client, being the town. I understand and hear their frustration. I share the frustration, and I would like to make the following motion: that a policy be set forth in the town board for the town of Waukesha that all communication from any paid staff, paid consultants, or communication from any attorney that we are employing shall be submitted to the town attorney for review prior to responding to any open records request, so as to not create a situation where privileged documentation is provided to the public in the future. And that's not to try to keep information from you, but there are some things in negotiations and contracts that I think there's a reason that the state has statutes to talk about closed sessions and the appropriateness of closed sessions. Certainly a negotiation of a contract would be one of those things. So my motion is to create this as a policy for this town board.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion.
The meeting we had on Monday night was held at your request, Joe. And I agreed to that because I want to keep the discussion moving forward. In fact, I got on board with your request to have you and John meet with the many people from the city and the county and the DNR and sewer pack and everybody else the previous Monday as an accommodation to your request and to keep the process moving. When we came here Monday night and you asked that the meeting be open, and I fully support that, you indicated it would not have citizens comment, and I was fine with that, and we had a very, I think, respectful and orderly meeting Monday night. You're the one who put in play Dean Lang's legal opinions, and I'm not going to beat that any further, but you made representations to us regarding the legal advice that he had given you.
Thought you weren't gonna beat it any further.
Well, I am going to take it a step further. I don't know how much more public it could be. When you ask for an open and public meeting and you reveal that to everybody in the room, I didn't have a particular problem with that, and I don't have a particular problem with the fact that Dean Lang's response to that has been made public. As far as I'm concerned, let the sun shine in. If I'm Dean Lang and he's not here tonight, I quite imagine he would like to have an opportunity to exonerate himself if somebody's misrepresented what he said. So I'm not going to support your motion. I think we need more sunshine and less darkness in this town board. So I won't vote for it.
I'm the one that released that information. I'm the one that got the original email. I sent it to you immediately, Joe, via Aaron.
No, you didn't. I had to make the request to Molly.
Or
And
Molly, I'm
was
sorry.
and Molly was gone, so it was after she left. So I had to call back a second time and ask for Aaron to send.
We can argue about all you want. The fact is that you had false information floating out there, and that was privileged information or not privileged information. You were allowed to throw that out there. But when the truth came out, and the fact is that Dean Lang, your attorney, said we don't have a contract, that's privileged. So the truth is privileged, but false information we can banter about for 90 days.
You have a half-truth right now, John.
No, you have half-truths.
You have an
I think we should
email.
vote.
Okay, well, you have an email out there that would potentially change Dean Lang's opinion, and he hasn't reviewed it.
Mr. Chairman, just one last comment. I suspect that if Dean Lang were to watch Mr. Ham's YouTube recording of tonight's meeting, I suspect that he will no longer wish to provide legal services to town of Waukesha. That's my guess.
Let's take a vote.
Chairman Merrick,
No.
Supervisor Vansky,
Yes.
Supervisor Wolf,
Yes.
Supervisor Laska,
Yes.
Supervisor Fisher.
No.
Or passes, I'm sorry.
Move for adjournment?
So moved. Question? I don't know if this falls under the category of agenda items, but I got a call from one of our residents today and said, hey, Mike, what's the deal with the agenda here? I don't understand it. And I couldn't give him an honest answer. And then I referred to an article in the newspaper here, the Milwaukee Journal, indicated town chairman John Merrick scheduled a special town meeting at 6:30.
Mike Laska, council says we're out of order. Can't proceed.
Point of privilege. Oh, this is an agenda item. And I couldn't answer one of our residents what the agenda item meant. And I could only refer to what was put in the newspaper, and therefore I was just going to ask for clarification in the event that it happens in the future. I should really have a response to people when they call me at home. That's the only point I want to make. So, going on with the sentence in the newspaper, Town Chairman John Merrick scheduled a special town meeting at 6:30 p.m. Thursday to discuss the city's rejection and consider an alternative proposal without conditions requiring negotiations. Now, is that item number A or item number B? What's to connect the dots on that, please? that statement has something to do with the agenda, no doubt. But which one, A or B? Put you on the hot seat, got to know.
There's no hot seat whatsoever.
Okay, put
Honest
you
to
on a
goodness,
cold
you-
seat.
do you see anything about water service in B?
This is certainly water service.
Do you see anything about water service in B? Then the obvious answer, Mike, and all you want to do is make an argument, would be A.
Okay.
And if you can't figure that out, what are you doing up here?
What are you doing up here? You're the rabble-rouser. You know, you're absolutely, I'll have to agree with you. When we come to these water service meetings to whittle away what has already been decided upon, just to weasel away and give away our valuable resource here in the town, I do question, what am I doing here after January 24th with these items on the agenda?
Move to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
He's out of order. He imploded.
Well, it's not like sweet.
Yeah, of course. He's shaking his finger. Of course. It's not good here because this side gives you one thing, getting up with proven fact. No, I know. You know what happens? I'm not gonna miss it. I'm not this part. Go right.
I can't, with the light on, I
Welcome to the Commonwealth of the City. What's with these people? I think then I come out to the town 27 years ago. I built this house. I didn't have to get out of it. Now they're trying to push it down and come back.
very great.
Listening to that whole change, you can't even give me the